Hi everyone, and welcome to Paper Pumpkin Week here on Creative Chelsey. This week I'm going to share with you some great card ideas that you can make with one set of supplies from this month's kit. Today I'm sharing with you my first alternative cards using the November 2023 Paper Pumpkin kit called Warm Wishes. This festive kit creates 8 treat boxes, 4 in 2 different designs. These are the intended projects that you can make with the kit. They are so cute. They have a little space here where you can add a little treat pouch, and they do include the plastic and the sticker for those treats, and then you can just easily slide them right in. If you would like to watch me unbox the kit and create these boxes, you can click on the playlist in the top right corner. Each month I take the contents from the Paper Pumpkin kits and make alternative projects. My cards are easy to follow and can be made by both experienced or new paper crafters. You may need just a couple other products to complete these cards. You can follow along with me using supplies you already have or purchase any products you see me use from my online store. The link to all products is below in my description or on my blog creativechelsey.com. Today's cards make bold statements with strong colors that coordinate with the large houses from the treat boxes, which we will be cutting up to get 2 cards from one house. I am so excited to show you how. If you like this video, please subscribe to my channel so you can get updates when I post a new video. I would love to be your Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. If you're interested in getting your own Paper Pumpkin subscription, please use the link in the description below to subscribe. To begin, you're going to take one of the brown house treat boxes and we're going to separate it at the score lines. So here, this score line has already been folded. So I have a trick for you. I have noticed when I try to cut a folded score line that it will sometimes tear the cardstock. So what I do is I start my blade in the middle of the cardstock and cut out towards the edges. And it helps create, I don't know why, but it helps create a smoother cut. I notice that if I try to start from the top and move down, it just makes it really rough. I'm also going to cut here to remove the roof flap. And you can do this either way, either from the front or the back. You're just going to try to separate it right along that score line. And then go ahead and separate off the bottom piece at that score line as well. So I just line my score lines up with my cut line right here, and it gives me a perfect cut every time. So this is the front of the house, and we know that because it has a front door. I'm not using the front of the house for my 2 cards today. So let's go ahead and put that off to the side. Today we're going to be using the back of the house, the bottom section, as well as the roof flap for our 2 cards. Let's go ahead and take the back of the house and we are going to separate the top row of windows from the bottom row. And you're just going to kind of eyeball it. It doesn't need to be perfect. Mine is sitting at about 1 3/8 of an inch. Okay, so just right there in the middle somewhere. So for the background of these cards, I created just a little blend along the edges and then did some splattering. So I'm going to show you how I did that. I'm starting with some lighter color cardstock. I have Balmy Blue and then Old Olive, and I'm going to use Balmy Blue ink, but my brush does have some darker blue ink on it already. And so it might be a little darker than Balmy Blue. So you could pick any blue color really to do this. And you start off of your cardstock and then you just do a little blend along the edges. And this piece of cardstock is 4 1/8 inch by 5 3/8 inches. And that's going to give me just a slight border around this card front that I'm adding. If you like a larger border, you can cut it down to 4 inches by 5 1/4. So that can be totally up to you. So I went ahead and did a blend on all 4 sides, and then I'm going to take my blending brush and just kind of do an oval shape to kind of smooth that out. But I'm leaving the center untouched. And I'm just going to go ahead and repeat that with Old Olive ink on my Old Olive card base. Same size and everything. So now I have that technique done, and I'm going to splatter. So I'm going to take a little darker color. This is Night of Navy on my Balmy Blue, and it's my Stampin' Write marker. And I'm just going to splatter a little bit of ink onto my cardstock. And you can use any type of marker for this. I like the Stampin' Write marker. It gives a nice fine splatter. I'm going to do the same thing over here with my Old Olive marker. You're going to want to concentrate along the edges more than in the middle. Okay. Once that's done, you're going to just distress the edges a little bit, and I'm going to do that with a pair of paper snips and just run that along the edge. I don't have them open, it's just the edge of that cardstock is up against the outside edge of my paper snips. And if my corners get bent, that's okay. You can go ahead and intentionally bend them if you want. And if you don't like that distressed look, you don't have to do it. Sorry, my video stopped recording and I moved along on some of the steps. So things might look a little differently as the video progresses. So once you have finished distressing your card fronts, you're going to add it to your card base. And I used the Night of Navy card base for the Balmy Blue, and then Mossy Meadow for the Old Olive. Okay. And then you're going to take your pieces, your house, and you're going to add it to the middle. So here for the green, it's just the full house, and you're just going to stick it right in the middle. Give it a little more space near the bottom for your these other elements here at the bottom. So sorry you don't get to see that part, but for the Balmy Blue, you're going to add the roof first, and I've already added some liquid glue. So go ahead and place that about 1/4 of an inch from the top and centered on your card. So it's going to look something like that. And then you're going to take your bottom row of houses and slide it underneath the roof just so that it barely is tucked underneath there. So no background cardstock is showing, and make sure that it is also nice and straight on your card. And ta-da, you have a second house using some of those leftover pieces. So from there, we're going to go ahead and do our stamping, and I'm going to need 2 doors. So let's go ahead and ink that up and stamp them on some basic white cardstock. This is just some scrap paper that I have, so this doesn't need to be in any particular arrangement. We're going to fussy cut these out. So 2 doors. For my blue card, I also have another set of bushes. So I'm going to go ahead and ink up the bottom half and stamp that. For my green card, I have 3 more bushes. So that's another set of 2. And then 1. And it doesn't really matter which one. Okay, so I have all those bushes on there. And then for my green card, I'm also using some presents. I have 3 of those. So let's go ahead and stamp 3 presents here in the middle, anywhere where you have space. Well, as luck would have it, I went ahead and thought I was videotaping myself showing you how to color in the bushes and wreath here, but I didn't. So I'm going to show you again on another stamped image. So what you're going to do is I've got two different sets of green. I have my Old Olive Stamp and Blend markers, which includes both a light and dark color, and then I have my Mossy Meadow light and dark Stamp and Blends. And I'm going to start with my light color, and I'm going to do all of the bushes and wreaths in a light color first. This is just the background color. So just one solid color of a light green. Then I'm going to take my dark Old Olive and I'm going to add some depth. And I'm doing this by just adding some little marks. They don't need to be perfect. They don't need to be the same color, or I mean the same shape. And you're making sure that you leave some of that lighter color showing. You don't want to fill it up, okay? So here is layer number 2 with the dark Old Olive. Then you're going to take your dark Mossy Meadow and you're going to make smaller dots here. And I'm keeping it to mainly the bottom of the bushes. So smaller, kind of think about, you know, dark little holes in the trees or bushes that you have. And then you're also going to add it to the outside and inside of the wreath. Anywhere there's like going to be a shadow. Okay, so it's going to look like this. Adding that darker Mossy Meadow really makes these pop. So once you've done that, you're going to go ahead and finish it and all of the images that we stamped. So the next is the door, and I colored my doors both differently, but they have kind of the same elements or the ways I did it. And then we're also going to do the bow. So for this door, I used the Pecan Pie Stamp and Blend markers. And just like before, I'm going to start with my light marker first and just do the door, including the door frame. Make sure to leave the handle of the door untouched. Okay, so there's the flat one color with the light pecan pie. And then you can kind of just figure out where the dark shadows are going to be. So I'm going to add some shadows along the right side of these inside panels, maybe a little bit along the door, just kind of let it touch and lift, maybe a little bit along the door frame, along the bottom of the step. I'm not going to do actually any at the bottom of the window because I'm going to add a little bit of light in there, but maybe around the wreath because there's going to be a little shadow on the door from the wreath. Okay, so just something like that. Have fun with it. It doesn't have to be perfect or even just like mine. Let's talk about the bow really quick. Again, we're going to start with a light color. I'm going to use my light real red, fill in the bow, and then go in with your dark real red and add those shadows or details. So I know that when I make a bow, it's usually creased right in the middle. And so that's kind of where I've added those darker colors. Can you see that? The last thing that I want to do is add some color to my window, and I want a nice yellow color to kind of go with my house. So I'm going to make some rays in the middle with my dark Daffodil Delight blends, and then I'm going to blend them out with my light Daffodil Delight. And then don't forget the little doorknob. I'm going to add a little yellow doorknob. And that is all done. I'm going to go ahead and repeat those same things for my red door. I'm going to use my real red for the door frame, my Daffodil Delight for the window. Oh, and I forgot to mention that I do want to take my dark Daffodil Delight and add just a little yellow along the top edge of that door, just to kind of help it look like it's glowing. So for my bow on that second door, I wanted it to be blue, so I'm going to use Balmy Blue blends for that. So I'm going to go ahead and do that and be right back. Okay, so there is my red door. Same techniques. Oh, I forgot my yellow doorknob again. Okay, I didn't change anything except for the colors. So the last thing that we're going to color are our presents, and I just did these in the primary colors. So I've got red, blue, and yellow. And we're just mixing and matching the bows. So just kind of start with one. I'm doing the light color for the most of the image, and then I'll go in with just a little shadow using the dark color. So one is going to be the bow, and one will be the wrapping. So then you can just do a little bit. Okay, and if you want, you can add a little shadow along the bottom, or you can even do a shadow along the whole thing to kind of give it more of a three-dimensional look. Totally up to you. So let's do blue next. Just have fun with it. Oh, I mixed those ones. Well, maybe I'll do a green one here. I wasn't really thinking. I'll do a green bow. Let's do our light old olive. And the dark old olive. All right, no harm done there. So let's go ahead and we're just now going to fussy cut everything out. When you do the brown house, you'll see, or the brown door, you'll see that there are no bushes on each side. If you peek underneath, I'll show you, but it's they've been removed. So we are going to remove those. I will show you how to do that. But I'm just going to go ahead and fussy cut everything else out, and then I'll be back and show you how to fussy cut out the bushes along the door. All right, so I've cut everything out. You can see that I've fussy cut pretty close to the image. And the reason for that is because our main house does not have a white border. So I wanted to try to keep it pretty close. I'm gonna go ahead and take this brown one with the bushes, and you're just gonna try to remove the bushes right near the line. So maybe even cut on the black line. What happens to the brown house or the door doesn't really matter because you're going to cover that up with the greeting, but you do want to have a nice edge to your bushes on the side. So I'm going to go ahead and do the second one here. And then I've gone ahead and added dimensionals or glue dots to the back of lots of these here. For my brown door, I do want dimensionals on the back of that. I'm going to go ahead and add some. And then for those two bushes I just cut off, I'm going to add those with either liquid glue or a glue dot, since I want those to be at a different level. Okay. So the last thing we need to stamp before we can assemble everything are the greetings. And for my blue card, I'm doing warm wishes, and for my green card, I'm doing special delivery. This one does come from the label from the kit, and I'll show you what I did there to get the matching fishtail shape on both sides. So where the hole is here, I'm going to cut a line up to the top of that hole. Okay, I don't know if you can see that very well. There we go. And then you're going to repeat from the corner to the top of the hole. And that's going to remove that, giving you a nice banner that's pretty close to the same shape as what was on the other side. And then you're going to take the Mossy Meadow ink spot that came in the kit and your greeting. So whichever greeting you choose to use. For the banner, I'm going to use the Warm Wishes. If you got October's kit, you could also use any of the greeting or images from that kit as well. And that just gets stamped right in the middle of that banner. Just like that. So that's ready. And then I just have a 1/2 inch by 2.5 inches for my greeting for my green card. So ink that special delivery up in that Mossy Meadow and then stamp that right in the center of that 1/2 inch by 2.5 inches. Looks so good. For this one, I did distress it just a little bit. So if you want to do the same thing, just run your scissors on the top and bottom, and then you can roll one of the sides if you want, kind of like that. Pretty easy to do. Okay, let's do our blue card. So like I mentioned, I have a vellum circle that's a 2 3/8 inch diameter. I'm going to go ahead and add my, here, I'm going to do this on here so you can see it. I'm going to add my circle just to the center of it with dimensionals. Then I'm going to take my Warm Wishes. I'm going to place dimensionals on the sides of my door where I removed those bushes. So look like that. And then you're going to add your greeting across it. And what I like about using this circle is it kind of looks a little bit like a snow globe. It's kind of a fun little look here. So, love that. We're going to add some adhesive to the back of the door. And then we do have a little bit of adhesive poking out from the banner. And that's just going to go right in the middle over that middle window. Just like that. And then to kind of add more symmetry to the house, this is where the little bushes come in. So you can find the ones that you did next to the door if you'd like, and you're going to place those. These ones have glue dots on them, and they're going to go right in the corner of your house like that. And then you can take any of the ones you've popped up on dimensionals, and you can bring those down a little lower. Let's see, this is another one, to give it some height and depth. There we go. And that card is all done. Let's go ahead and move over to the green card. I did forget that I added a little bit of this pattern paper to the base of my house. So let me grab that pattern paper. It is from, do you remember this piece here? It's the pattern on the inside. So you're going to take your paper trimmer and just trim off a 1/2 inch. And we're just going to use this to go all the way across because we are going to cut it. So maybe about here. How big is that? It's about 1 inch from one side. Just go ahead and separate those two pieces, and then you can add them to the base of your house. You can go ahead and do that first. I placed it with maybe about 1/4 of an inch showing like away from the edge. Do you see that? And right up against the house. Do the same on the other side. And now we can do our vellum. So this is the vellum arch that I designed for the background of these door frames. Okay, so you can see that vellum arch. If you're interested in getting the free SVG file, you can go ahead and click at the link. There's going to be a link at the very bottom of the description. So you'll need to scroll all the way through to the bottom, or you can visit my blog, creativechelsey.com, and do a search for November Paper Pumpkin 2023 alternatives, and it should pop up. These cards, the tutorial for these cards will pop up, and it will be in there as well. So that's for if you have an electronic cutting machine. You can use that SVG file to cut out these. And just so you know, if it changes the size of them, the width here at the bottom is 2.5 inches. So that should help you resize it. Just make sure to keep all the other ratios the same. So we're going to take our house. I'll put this on the dark again so you can see. And we're going to just pop that right there in the middle. So this has dimensionals on the back of our little door here to our house. And then we're going to add our greeting at the bottom. So place some mini dimensionals just in the corners. You can push down a little bit. If they cover up the bush, that's okay. So do you see how it tacks down the bush a little bit? That's not a problem. So go ahead and then add your special delivery. This is 2.5 inches as well, so it should fit perfectly across the bottom of your little dome. And then you're going to take your presents, and you can add these really wherever you want. I've placed them with some little mini dimensionals. Let's put this one behind. Okay, so a little special delivery there. So cute. Before we add this, oh, you know what? I did forget that I added my wreaths to my windows. So go ahead and just lift up the vellum on those sides and pop those wreaths over the windows here, just to add a little more height and depth to that house. Okay, going back to our bushes. So I have two that are on glue dots, and then I have one that's on a dimensional. So the dimensional one goes on the left side. Okay, I did put it so that it hits the bottom of the pattern paper, and it just, the top goes along the edge of the house. Then let's go ahead and add this. A little bit of liquid glue behind those elements. You can really add this wherever. I'm going to place it to the right side of the house, just like that. The bottom of this special delivery will line up with the bottom of the pattern paper. And then you're going to take your bushes, and they just kind of go behind the vellum, just to add another little element. So just go place it behind. The reason we're adding it after is because we're really not 100% sure where we're going to be placing these, or the vellum. Anyway, you can just tuck those in underneath, and your card is all done. Well, I hope you enjoyed watching me create these fun, bold cards using the contents from the November 2023 Paper Pumpkin Kit. If you're interested in getting written instructions or seeing close-up images on how you create these cards, you can visit my blog, creativechelsey.com. If you would like to subscribe to Paper Pumpkin so that you get your own fun monthly crafting kit, you can use the link in the description box below to subscribe. Thanks so much for watching. Have a creative day. Bye.